Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Shireen Banakter. I'm a chiropractor, but also have trained in functional nutrition and detox. And I love taking care of families. I love taking care of pregnant women. I like taking care of anyone old or young. And this is what we do in our office. And today we're going to talk about intermittent fasting. As part of our Chambers program in Frisco, I've been introducing different things that we could do weekly to make our way up to intermittent fasting. But I thought it'd be helpful to go over how do we fast, what kind of fasts exist out there, and how does that help us, and give you a program week by week so that you could implement. So fasting pretty much means that you deliberately don't eat food or fluids for a period of time. Now, many people don't know what fasting has been, and that fasting has been used for thousands of years, and various religions and spiritual practices throughout our history, and in a sense, has had fasting. Actually, we probably do it every single day. We're just not aware of it. For example, the term breakfast means breaking your fast. So there is tons of research that shows how fasting positively affects our physiology, how it affects the cells, how it affects aging, disease, overall health. And it has been incredible for me to watch people actually transform their health using intermittent fasting. In 2016, actually, Dr. Osumi changed the fasting landscape dramatically when he won the Nobel Prize. He won it for what we call an autophagy fasting. We're going to go a little bit about what that is, which means self-eating. And no, I do not mean that you're going to take a piece of yourself and eat it, but it means fasting enough so that your body gets to a point where it starts to get rid of weak, damaged cells. All right. Fasting triggers this magical property that we call autophagy, and it helps to accelerate healing and gets our body to naturally repair itself. So what happens to our bodies when we fast? When we don't consume food or calories, the body looks for different ways to generate energy, such as drawing on glucose, that is our sugar stores that we have in our muscles or in our liver. And the body's metabolism also changes. That's the way we burn energy and we burn fatty acids. It changes, and we start to use the stored fat in our cells for energy. And when this transition happens from burning fat to energy is made, the body begins producing what we call ketones. And it is said to be a state of ketosis. And you can measure the levels of ketone using what we call keto moho. And we talk about that at different videos. So ketosis, by the way, is different than ketoacidosis, which is what diabetics go through when their blood sugar levels really falls low. Your intermittent fasting will not get you to go into ketoacidosis, but it does make you go into ketosis, which is where you want to be, because ketones are used for your brain, and actually your brain and your memory thrives on fasting. Now, specific benefits can vary depending on how many hours you've been fasting. For example, if you want growth hormone to kick in, this is for you guys that work out and you want to increase your muscle bulk, for women that want to stay young forever, then you want to fast 16 to 18 hours. MIT research shows that at 24 hours, intestinal stem cells will begin to repair, and 24 hours is also when you start to see weight loss. So what are some benefits of fasting? There are many benefits to fasting. Some are here on the slide that you can see. Boosts growth hormone, promotes longevity, boosts immune system. But let me go through some of these. For example, fasting stimulates growth hormone. That is a fat burning hormone secretion by 1,300%. I do not know any exercise that increases. Exercise is fantastic, it's great for everything, but that increases your growth hormones 1,300%. It triggers autophagy. That means cleaning up of damaged cells. We spoke about that a little bit. Stem cell generation. Stem cells are cells that have no identification in your body. They are made into liver cells, they're made into brain cells, they're made into fingernails. So you want to make sure that you have plenty of stem cells within your body that helps you to continually regenerate your tissues. Stabilizes your blood sugar level. So if you're one of those people that when you eat, you feel sleepy, when you don't eat, you feel sleepy and tired, then you have a blood sugar dysregulation issue. And fasting will help to stabilize your blood sugar. It actually really, once you stabilize your blood sugar, your weight starts to come off, and then you can have more control over your weight loss. It helps to boost your immune system. It helps depression and anxiety. It helps detoxification. It slows the aging process, so it keeps us young. It helps autoimmune condition. It normalizes our insulin and leptin sensitivity. It lowers our blood sugar. It helps with thyroid condition, with chronic pain, with gut issues, with gallbladder issues, and it supports our hormones and it supports fertility. It normalizes ghrelin levels, also known as the hunger hormone, and it helps with memory function and mood. So there are many different kinds of fasting, and I'm going to go over 7 of them with you today. One is intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting is our deliberate cycling between periods of fasting and eating. So most people already fast on average for 12 hours a day. That's from our dinner to our breakfast the next morning. And so most of it is done while you're sleeping, really. With intermittent fasting, what you want to do is to extend your breakfast a little slightly. So let's say that you eat your dinner at 7 and you wake up at 7 a.m. and that's when you have your breakfast. The way you want to do this is you want to extend that to 8 a.m. So 1 hour a day until you make it to 15 hours. So that's the easiest way, is to pushing breakfast back a couple hours or skipping breakfast entirely and breaking your fast with lunch. I am never that person that can wait until lunch, but I do break my fast at 10 a.m. In between, I drink tea, I drink coffee, and it really, really helps. Now, here's a research for you. The New England Journal of Medicine published a great review article discussing the benefits of intermittent fasting and how time-restricted eating actually contributes to healthy living. Now, remember we talked about that autophagy fasting. I said it means self-eating. Naomi Whittle, she actually wrote a book called Glow 15, which talks about autophagy fasting. You can go ahead and get that one from Amazon if you want. And autophagy fasting means that you don't eat for 16 to 18 hours. So you're fasting for 16 to 18 hours. That's the sweet spot for it. So there's some additional key principles that I should probably go over that you want to follow if you're going to do autophagy fasting. When you break your fast, you want to break it with healthy fats. This helps to keep your blood sugar stable. It helps to curb your hunger. It allows you to go for another 3 to 4 hours without eating, and you'll keep your carbohydrates under 50 grams and your protein under 20 grams. So Naomi Whittle also recommends eating carbs later in the day, and autophagy fasting is great for a lot of people. And we will actually open this concept and I will teach you how to do it. There's another one called dinner to dinner. So that is your 20 to 4 fasting method. So once you're comfortable with intermittent fasting, you can go dinner to dinner. That means in this type of fast, you try 1 or 2, you only, by the way, do this once or twice a week. You drink lots of water, maybe some coffee during this fast period. Dr. Fung, who is the author of the obesity code, calls this OMAD, or 1 meal a day. What's important to remember here is that the longer you fast, the more your body will reach into your stored areas of fat to burn fuel. Now, you cannot, for that 1 meal a day, sit down and eat crappy food, because then your body's not going to get what it needs. Another one, it's called dry fasting. So unlike the other fasts, during a dry fast, you'll abstain from drinking any water or any liquid. And there are a lot of reasons why dry fasting is great. Research shows us that it can decrease inflammation. It can increase BDNF. So what's BDNF? BDNF is a fertilizer for our brain. Incorporating dry fasting into our weekly diet variation, for those of you that want to have better brain clarity, improved memory, better mobility, this would be the one you would do. So I recommend doing this 12 to 24 hours of dry fasting. However, I do not recommend that you dry fast for more than 24 hours. Dry fasting is definitely for the more expert faster. So that means that if you're just starting, this is not something that you want to do. You want to push your breakfast an hour a day. And then there's 36 to 48 hour water fasting. And then there is 3 to 5 day water fasting. And then there is fast mimicking. So we're going to talk about these and we're going to teach you more. So here's what autophagy looks like. Remember, we talked about it so that you are not eating for 16 to 18 hours, and it really helps to get rid of those cells that are not working properly. It is great for aging. It is great for metabolic health. It really helps the brain. It really helps cancer, and it really helps to boost heart health. Here's dry fasting. We talked about that. That is not drinking water for a certain amount of time. But remember, dry fasting is something you want to do once you are an expert faster. And there is something that we call fast mimicking. This was popularized by Walter Longo and the longevity diet. In this study, Longo showed that the limited calories and low protein also forces the body to release stem cells. Normally, I recommend that if you're going to do fast mimicking, if you want to eat food, but you don't want to eat food a lot. So you really, really want to decrease your calorie to about 500 to 600 calories a day, and you only do it for 5 days out of the month. But let's start with intermittent fasting. That's the one that you want to be at for longer period of time. The number one thing I want you to do is to create a fasting window. But before we do that, this is what I like you to do. So in preparation to get you ready for intermittent fasting, the first thing that I like you to do is to give up the sugar that is in your drink. So that includes your fruit juices, your soda pops, your Snapper, your Gatorade, your vitamin water, your caffeinated drinks, things that you would get from Starbucks that are high in sugar, different caffeine flavors. So you really, really got to get rid of those in your first week. You could also, you see these 16 brands that are right here. You could replace some of those with Recess, with things like Sanzo, with things like Poppy. Make your coffee at home and make sure that you really limit the amount of sugar you put into it and syrups. Week 2, once you've done this, so we did this with Chamber, we're on week 1 and week 2, is I really, really want you to start adding vegetable to your diet. So as long as it's green and as long as it's colorful and potato does not count as a vegetable, then I really, really want you to start adding a cup of vegetable to lunch and dinner. The reason you add the vegetable is it gives a volume to what it is that you're eating, and it really, really helps sugar metabolism, and it really helps gut healing. So when you add those vegetables in, it really helps for you to, believe it or not, eat less carbohydrates. So week number 3, we talked about this. I want you to add green juice. And I also gave you guys a list of green juice that you want to add. There should be no fruits in your green juice at all. Really, it should be green juice. If you need help with recipes, you can reach out to me and I will send you off a whole bunch of recipes. If you're here in our area in Texas, then I could give you some ideas of where to get those green juices. But you want to add green juice to your diet. Again, this is adding enzymes to your diet. This is adding different vitamins to your diet. It really helps with deficiencies. So these are steps to take before you actually start intermittent fasting. And then on week 4, we want to get you to stop eating 3 hours before you go to bed. So most of us have very similar sleeping hours. So whether you're going to bed at 10 p.m., 11, 12, or 8, you really have to start planning to eat your last meal 3 hours before you go to sleep. Sleep is so important for making sure that your hormones balance. And I really want to make sure that with intermittent fasting, we really help your hormones to balance. And we really help your sugar levels to balance, because sugar levels play an intricate role in your hormones. As we go through these educational videos, you will learn how they actually help your hormone levels. But one of the big things I like you to do is to stop eating 3 hours before you go to bed. And then on week 5, then now you can start with your intermittent fasting. So you've already added vegetables to your diet, so you're used to it now. You've already stopped eating 3 hours before you go to bed, so you've been somehow fasting already. You've started adding green juice so that you're getting all those vitamins and enzymes. So we want to make sure that now you're ready to fast. When you are fasting, remember, I said you start with 12 hours. So if your last meal was at 8 p.m., then you're going to eat 8 a.m. the next day. and you will push your breakfast an hour until you get to that 16 to 18 hour window, which means that you're going to push your 8 a.m. breakfast eventually to lunch at 12. So then your eating window would be 12 to 8, and it slowly then will start to decrease that eating window for you. So you're going to start with it. So you have a 12 to 12 fast, and slowly we want to get you to fasting for 16 hours, eating for 8 hours, and eventually you could warrior fast, and you could be fasting for 20 hours and then eating for 4. But let's concentrate on that pushing the fast. So we're not changing what you're eating during the day right now. We are just changing the time that you're eating. So just 12 hours, and then slowly 13 hours of fast, 12 hours of eating, then 14 hours of fast, 12 hours of eating, and then 15 hours of fast. And slowly you're going to increase that until you get to 16-hour fasting, 8 hours of eating window. Have a wonderful day, and I hope that this really, really helps you.